we just got some leaked news today for EA Sports College Football 26. Now, I know I've talked about this game on the channel a couple times already. We're obviously still playing College Football 25, but 26 is going to be coming out this summer, and we've already got some rumors that I've posted about in videos, but today we actually got some more official leaks from none other than Matt Brown. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know who Matt Brown is. He was the main guy leaking news last year for College Football 25, and he was right about pretty much everything because he was getting this information directly from the schools themselves because EA and the schools communicate via email, and he was able to get some information this way. Well, today he put out some information for College Football 26, and some of it's sounding pretty good, but it is some of the smaller information. We don't know all the big things yet. We have heard the rumors about high school and road to glory and things like that, but the information that Matt is going to get a lot of times is going to deal with the schools directly. Like, what is EA asking schools for? What types of specific things are they wanting to put in the game? And today he's got a bunch of info on that we're going to go over. Now, if you're new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of these videos when they drop, we're going to be getting tons of news and leaks around this game as the months carry on. Make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of these important videos when they drop. So let's talk about some of the things that Matt Brown found out today. Well, EA did send a survey out to all schools regarding kind of the accuracy and any potential changes that they're going to be making to their programs, whether it be stadiums, mascots, jerseys, all that stuff. Now, of course, in this year's version of the game, they did get a lot of stuff in there, but not everything was 100% accurate. We saw that they had to update certain things in stadiums, or maybe even certain things on uniforms could have been, some small detailing. They had to change these in updates because when you're dealing with as many schools as EA's dealing with, it's over 120 of them. Obviously, you're going to have a couple hiccups here or there, or sometimes they're not getting all the up-to-date information from the schools and they're trying to source certain things. So you can have some stuff get overlooked. So one of the things they're trying to do is make sure that they're honing in on the accuracy, more than they did last year. They want to make sure any changes that are coming up, they want to know as early as possible. Like if a stadium name is changing, or if there are going to be renovations to a stadium, or if there's going to be some new uniforms introduced for a team, they want to get this info as early as possible so that they can have the time to make sure that it's in the game at launch instead of having to do it in an update a month or two after the game launches. Now, it said that EA set a deadline of October 18th, but then they extended it to November 30th because some schools did not respond and some schools still haven't responded after the extended deadline, which again just goes to show you that some of these schools are not going to be as easy to work with as others. Some schools send a lot more uniforms over, they send a lot more details to EA, making it a lot easier for them to put the stuff in the game, whereas some schools, it's harder to get that direct contact with them, or they just take forever to respond, and that's why sometimes you see some things get overlooked. Now, some of the survey stuff that they sent to schools asked them to submit anything new in terms of sponsorships or naming changes to the stadiums. I think we could be seeing more of that in the game this year because that's kind of become a bigger thing. I think now we're going to start seeing some more of those sponsors. We did see a few of them in the game, I think like Discover and maybe a couple others, but we could potentially be seeing some more sponsorships that these schools actually use, on their field and stuff like that, which is really just more of an authenticity thing to make it look as close to real life as possible. They also asked schools to submit additional chants that were not in the game in 25. So schools have a bunch of different chants for different moments of the game, and some schools have more than others. And so, of course, a lot of the big schools got their chants in the game, but that doesn't mean they got every single one in, or that every single school, like the smaller schools, didn't get all of their specific chants in. So they're trying to kind of build it out. Now that the game is out, you have the groundwork laid, but now they want to take it further because some of the teams in the game were depicted a lot closer to real life than other ones, especially when you consider the smaller schools. They're going to pay more attention to the bigger schools in the first game, making sure those are right. Now they got to continue building out and adding the smaller details for every school so that everything is as authentic as possible. Now, we're going to continue on with the rest of the leaks, but really quickly, I do want to shout out today's video sponsor, Underdog. They've been a huge supporter of the channel, and if you like sports and you like winning money, then you've got to be on Underdog playing their pick'em game. Basically, all you have to do is pick higher or lower on player stats, and if they hit, you can win some big money. But the best thing about Underdog is they give you free plays when you sign up and free money to start with. So for tonight's Thursday night football game, for example, if you want to sign up, they're going to give you Jordan Love to get a single yard. That means all you have to do is get 1 yard, and that's it, you win. If you want to play on Sunday instead, if you want to wait, you can get Justin Herbert to get a single yard. Or for Monday Night Football this week, they're going to give you CeeDee Lamb to get a single yard. And no matter when you sign up, even if it's weeks from now, there will always be a free play just like this for you to take advantage of. And if you use my code RAY, R-A-Y, they'll also give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash at sign up, and you just can't beat that. Now here's an interesting one. It says that EA also asked schools specifically for photos and videos of the teams in the tunnels preparing to run out, and they mentioned specifically they want to get the lighting down, I believe more so for night games, to have it have a distinct look and have it look differently from the day games. But it also mentions potentially having more than one cutscenes with teams running out of the tunnels, because if you notice in the game, like some of the smaller schools especially, they have very similar runouts. They're like kind of the same animations. You might get a few different cutscenes here or there with certain things in the crowd, but the runouts are very similar. You see like the same runout, maybe from a different angle. So it sounds like they're trying to kind of add a little bit more variety to this, so that, you know, you play the game so much, if you see the same runout over and over, you just start skipping it and it gets old. Obviously, certain teams have specific runouts, some of the bigger schools, but they're trying to add more of these for smaller schools, but also add, you know, some different cutscenes just in general, so that every time you start a game, it doesn't look the exact same. And of course, they're trying to get that lighting down too, especially for night games. So it was said that this is a high priority request, so this is something they potentially are really trying to nail down for this game. And in terms of lighting, hopefully we also get the dynamic lighting in the game, meaning if you start a game at 6 o'clock, as you get near the end of the game, it actually gets dark outside. That's something that used to be in games, and it wasn't in this year's game. So they didn't say that specifically, but I think if they're focusing on lighting, that could potentially be something else that they're looking to add. Another big thing they want to do this year, maybe this isn't a big thing to some, but they are definitely asking schools about more mascot related stuff. They want to get the rest of the mascots added to the game. That was something that actually did surprise me, was that there were only 50 mascots in the game. Most of the bigger schools, and then, you know, some of the more unique mascots were in the game as well, but they want to get all of them in the game, obviously, because it's a big deal. Now, are they going to get them all in the game this year? I don't know, but I think that is the goal, but they definitely are adding more. So instead of having 50, you know, maybe we get up to 100 this year, which would be nice. And they also even specifically, you know, kind of want to know how the mascots were depicted in this game. Were any of them kind of predicted not accurately, or are there more things that, you know, we should know about the mascots and what they do, so that we can have them be as realistic as they are in real life, you know, so the game looks like real life. They also mentioned wanting more photos of marching bands and specific color codes and stuff like that. That was kind of a critique, that while the bands were in the game, they weren't all accurate in terms of maybe what they wore, or maybe even for certain teams where they stood in the stadium. So it's a lot of little details. Like I said, when you're putting the game out for the first time now and you have all these schools, some stuff's not going to be 100% perfect, and they're kind of trying to iron that out now with this next version of the game, making sure the things that they maybe overlooked or got wrong, they want to make sure to get those things right. They also want more info on things like props and turnover chains and rivalry trophies. Now, obviously, some of those are in the game, but again, that was one of those things, I think, in the trailers, we thought there would maybe be more of it than it was. So we saw that there are obviously some rivalry trophies that are in the game, like the Army Navy, but for other rivalries, they don't show the trophy. So they're definitely trying to get more of that in the game, so that every rivalry can have the trophy depicted, or every team can have their turnover chain. Obviously, certain schools had it, like Colorado had the throne, and, you know, some other schools had the hoop and the belt, but there obviously are other schools that have other things as well. So they want to make sure that those are added and represented in the next version of the game as well. And they're also requesting more audio assets for the PA, such as third down calls and, you know, calls for touchdowns. And again, for some schools, they nailed a lot of this. They got it right. But again, when you look at the smaller schools or the mid-tier schools, not every school is as unique as some of the bigger schools are. So they want to get more chants. They want to get more audio, because while they have some of those things in the game, you can always add more, because so many of these schools just have so many different things that they do with their games. You want to add as many of those things as possible to make the game as realistic as possible. Now, we're going to be getting a ton of information about this game as it gets closer and closer. So again, make sure to subscribe so you're always up to date. And if you want to know about the 5 biggest rumors that we know so far in terms of game mode related stuff, make sure to check out this video right here on the screen.